Hey, this is Dr. Berry. For the next few minutes, let's talk about ways that you can improve your acne, even reverse it to where you only have a pimple or two every now and then. Millions of teenagers suffer from severe inflammatory acne, and millions upon millions of dollars are spent on lots of products, whether prescription or otherwise, trying to improve this acne epidemic that we have in the US and the rest of the world. I want to go into the root cause of this acne in this conversation, and we're going to talk about things that you can actually do for very little money to reverse your acne, to improve your acne, and to make your acne virtually go away. I am not trying to sell any products in this video. There will not be a sales pitch at the end. So I know that's a little weird. Usually when you watch a video about acne, there's a sales pitch at the end, but there won't be one with this video. I just want you to implement these healthy strategies that I'm going to talk about. And there's three major ones. And then at the end of this video, at the very end, I'm going to tell you about 5 or 6 things that just don't work at all, but you'll hear them in all the other videos. And so let's get into this. Now, if you have a child or a grandchild who has severe acne, you might forward this to them in an email or share it on Facebook for them, because so many teenagers and 20 somethings are suffering from acne, and even 30 and 40 somethings, and it's completely reversible. It's a completely preventable condition that you don't have to have. Now, when you going through puberty in your early teen years and even into your early 20s, your hormones are at elevated levels. This does not cause acne. You've probably heard that, but that's absolutely untrue. It does set the scene for acne to develop if the other things that we talk about below are ignored. But the hormones in and of themselves don't cause the acne. So acne is defined by modern medicine as a chronic inflammatory disease of the pilosebaceous unit. So even modern medicine recognizes that this is a chronic inflammation of the little hair pore and the oil gland underneath that. And so with that in mind, that's straight out of the textbook. That's a quote. Now we can start to say, okay, what can we do to reverse this inflammation? Now, right off the bat, if you go to a primary care doctor or healthcare provider or a dermatologist and they say that your diet has nothing to do with acne, you're completely within your rights, and I would say completely within your sanity to get up and walk out at that point. There is much research in the literature that shows that your diet directly impacts if you'll have acne and how severe your acne will be and how inflammatory your acne will be. As a teenager or a 20 something, you're going to have an occasional pimple. You're going to have a white head and a black head. That's just part of that being that age. What you're not destined to have is severe cases of inflammatory acne or nodular acne or cystic acne or scarring acne. Those things don't have to happen to you. And I'm going to tell you how to prevent those. So anytime a doctor says diet doesn't matter, you're done. Get up and walk out, because that's foolishness. That's not true. There was research done a decade and longer ago showing that diet absolutely matters. But what winds up happening is the doctor just wants to talk about medication. The doctor wants to write you a prescription for a topical to put on your skin or a prescription to put in your mouth. They don't really want to discuss diet with you because they don't think that you're going to be compliant anyway. And then, indeed, in the journals, the algorithm for treatment of acne doesn't include one word about diet, even though there is substantial research in the literature showing that diet very much matters. So here are the 3 things that you can do to start to reverse your acne today without spending a penny. First and foremost is you have to understand the most important thing that you can change for your acne is your diet. There is research, which I'm going to link to down below in the show notes, showing that a diet full of high glycemic index foods will absolutely make your acne worse. A diet high in low-fat dairy will absolutely make your acne worse. Sweetened chocolates might even make your acne worse. There's a little research that shows that that may be the case. But what I want you to focus on is the high glycemic index foods. And so in a nutshell, if you avoid all sugars, and I know that's easier said than done, but basically look in the mirror and say, would I like to have clearer skin, or would I rather have that donut? That's really what it comes down to, because most people can't have both. You have to pick. And so if you have pretty inflammatory, widespread acne right now, put down the donuts. But not only that, put down the whole wheat bread as well, because whole wheat bread is just as high on the glycemic index as the honey bun, as the donut. Stop all sugars. That's number one. Number two is stop eating all grains. That includes wheat, rice, oats, and corn. All of those break down immediately to sugar. They have a very high glycemic index, which means they make your blood sugar spike up really quickly. And then your pancreas has to release a lot of insulin to try to get that blood sugar under control. The high insulin level is going to increase a hormone in your body, or a protein known as IGF-1, which is a growth hormone. Now, teenagers and 20-somethings need IGF-1 along with the other growth hormones, but you don't need too much of it in your skin. Too much of it in the skin is going to cause you to produce more keratin, more sebum. It's also going to lead to proliferation of a bacteria called C. acnes. It used to be called P. acnes. Now it's C. acnes. And then also it's going to increase the inflammation in your skin. All four of those things together equals a bad case of acne. And you don't want that. So you've got to get rid of all sugars, all grains, get rid of all low-fat dairy. If you want to keep eating butter and maybe use some heavy cream for something, that's probably fine. Because the study that I linked to down below, they gave teenage boys skim milk. What does skim milk not have? Fat. All it has is the milk sugar, which is probably the majority of the cause of the acne outbreak that the boys suffered from after they drink it. And then also the potentially inflammatory proteins in milk that are meant for baby cows, not for young humans. And so the third thing is all dairy. Get rid of all dairy except for full fat dairy. And some people have to cut out dairy altogether to get their acne to go completely away. Hopefully you'll be able to eat full fat cheeses and butter and maybe use a little heavy cream, because they're all delicious. But once again, it comes down to you looking in the mirror and saying, am I happy with my acne, or do I need to stop all dairy? You may have to have that conversation with yourself further down the road. So number one, by far and away, the most important thing you can do is to get rid of the high glycemic index foods. You can Google that and find a list. It includes fruit. It includes absolutely fruit juices. It includes soft drinks. It includes all the grains that we talked about earlier, and then any form of sugar. You don't need any of those things in your diet. They're not good for you to start with, but they also make your acne worse. So stop that, okay? Number two, you will hear different vitamins and minerals mentioned. Really, the only mineral that or vitamin that I can find any meaningful research to support is zinc. If you'll take 25 or 50 milligrams of zinc each day, in addition to eating a good whole foods diet that's going to contain lots of vitamins and minerals, there is a limited little bit of research that shows that that might make your acne better. So zinc is very cheap. It's very easy to get your hands on a zinc supplement. And so I'd recommend that as well. And then the third thing to do is to make sure you're not taking any prescription medications that are known to make acne worse. And the most common of these are any medication that contains bromine in the medication, or fluorine or fluoride in the medication. These two are known without doubt to make your acne worse. And so if you're taking a medicine, if you'll go to Google and type in the generic name of the medicine and then molecule, and then look and see if there's an F anywhere in the molecule or a BR. And if there is, try to talk to your doctor about changing you to a medication that doesn't contain the F or the BR, which is fluorine and bromine. And then also, many of the anti-seizure medications can increase your risk of acne or make your acne worse. And so if you have to take something for seizures, maybe talk to your doc about taking one that's a little less prone to producing acne. And also remember that the diet that I was just talking about, another name for that diet is the ketogenic diet. And doctors can actually use a diet full of healthy fats like the ketogenic diet to control your seizure disorder. And I'm not saying stop your medicine, but I'm saying talk to your doctor about that, because you may not have to have that medication at all, or maybe not as much if you eat more fats in your diet, like the diet we discussed above. So step one, you've got to fix your diet. That's not optional. You can do step two and step three all day, and that's not going to help any. Okay, 90% of your acne improvement is going to come by fixing your diets, and then the other 5 or 10% is going to come from taking some zinc and making sure any prescription medications you take don't fall into the categories that I just discussed. Now, like I said, I linked the research down below so you can check that out yourself. Now let's talk about 5 things that you hear all the time that will improve your acne, that there's zero research to back up, and there's also zero common sense to back up that they would help. And so let's talk about that. Now, everybody wants to make money. That's human nature. And there are big companies who want to make money off your acne. They don't necessarily care if they make your acne better. They just want to get in your pocket, right? And so they will try to sell you very expensive washes and moisturizers. Some of these things are prescription, some are not. The research on all of these things is either zero or very, very weak at best. You don't have to spend a penny on your face, and you have to realize a very important concept. Your face is not dirty. That's not what's causing your acne. Remember the 4 things? You're making more sebum, you're making more keratin, you have the C. acnes bacteria, and then I want to talk about that in a second as well. And then you have inflammation. And so none of these medicines address those things other than temporarily, and they come at a very high cost. So anything over the counter, if you see an infomercial, if you see any of that stuff, that's all a waste of money. Focus on number 1 that we talked about earlier. That's where you're going to have your acne improvement. So your face is not dirty. You don't need to scrub it ever. You don't need to pick, poke, pop the pimples. That never helps. That always makes it worse. When you do that, it increases the inflammation, which is part of the acne complex, isn't it? We talked about that. So you don't want to inflame your face at all. You don't want to put anything that stinks or burns on your face. That's just going to inflame your face more, and that's part of the problem. You don't want to inflame your face. You don't want to make it red and irritated. That's not part of the healing process that we're trying to go for here. So do not spend all this money on your face. It does not help. You can make your acne worse by things that you put on your face, but it's very rare that you can make your acne better by things you put on your face. Your skin is a very complex 3-dimensional structure. And the commercials will act like your skin is just a covering over your body. And if you rub this stuff on your skin, it will somehow magically make the acne better. It doesn't work that way. It's much more complicated than that, okay? So being pimple-free is not your goal if you're in your teens or 20s. Your goal is to have 1 or 2 pimples, and that's just life in your teens and 20s. You're not going to be acne-free. I have many friends who are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s who still have acne from time to time. That's just part of life. What we're trying to avoid is that severe breakout of inflammatory acne that might lead to scarring. Now, the next thing that absolutely does not work is eating more fruit. I've seen this in many videos. Oh, you should juice and drink lots of fruit juice. You should eat lots of fruit. This absolutely go back to number 1, the diet, right? All fruit juices are very, very high on the glycemic index. They're going to make your acne worse, not better. I'm sorry. They are natural. They can even be organic. They can be locally grown. That has nothing to do with your acne. They have just as much sugar as if you were eating sugar with a spoon out of your mom's sugar bowl. Don't drink fruit juices. They do not make your acne better. They will make it worse. Eating lots of fruit, even organic, locally grown fruit, will make your acne worse. That's a myth. Don't do that. The other thing is, you need to eat lots more whole grain products, right? Again, the glycemic index of any whole grain product is sky high. Don't eat whole grain bread. Don't eat whole grain bagels or muffins. They do not help you at all. They will make your acne worse. And then the last thing that you hear very often is that you should drink more water. You should drink your body weight in water a day, or whatever scientific-y sounding formula they come up with. None of that's true. You're not going to drink enough water to flush the acne out of your system, okay? If you're thirsty, drink. If you're not thirsty, don't drink. Your body's got this. It doesn't need you to try to drown it in water. That's not going to help your acne whatsoever. Won't make your acne worse, won't make it better. It's just one of those myths that's out there. Now, you'll go to your doctor sometimes and they'll prescribe an antibiotic topically or an antibiotic to take by mouth. These might help short term, but the problem is that the C. acnes bacteria that we're talking about here is not the problem, okay? Right, even someone who has no acne at all, they have C. acnes on their skin. We all do. It's part of your normal skin microbiome. And so thinking that getting rid of that particular bacteria is going to make your acne go away, that's not true at all. There's zero research that shows that. It might make it better temporarily, but what else are you doing to the microbiome of your skin by taking that antibiotic? So don't do that, okay? Now, what you got to understand is that your skin is not just a coat of paint on your body. It's a thick, three-dimensional body part. It's very complex. It is much more than just the roof on top of your barn. You can't treat it that way. That doesn't work at all. You have to start thinking about what your skin is made of. That's how you're going to reverse your acne. Now, I'm going to put other videos that I've made about acne and skin. There should be one here and here popping up shortly. You can watch those if you'd like. If you enjoy this video, you can click the subscribe button and the little bell right beside it. That way, every time I get a bright idea like this, you'll be one of the very first to know. This is Dr. Berry. I'll see you next time.